Good morning. My name is Aleksandra Nikolić, and on behalf of Association KulturAll, I'm coordinating the mapping tasks in the Towched project. So today I will briefly introduce a line of work that runs through all the project's work packages. And it is about consolidation of existing and creation of new local cultural hubs, as well as creation of sort of European community of practice dedicated to collections-based education for sustainable development. Common use of the term cultural hub entails involving various institutions and organizations in cultural activities focused on exchange and experimentation. It can have a form of a place or a network, and it can also, in some cases, involve educational institutions. Specific to the Towched project is understanding of cultural hubs as locally rooted community spaces that can be physical or conceptual, and which serve as a context for co-created interventions in collections-based education for sustainable development. Such cultural hubs are aimed at engaging various learning communities in discussion, reflection, and using collections for ESD. The notion of community of practice, on the other hand, has roots in the situated learning theory, where it refers to a community gathered around certain domain of human practice, based on shared interest or identity, and also involving its members in mutual practical learning, where relationships are formed and stories and tools are shared. The focus of community of practice is on learning through interaction with others within a certain domain. Similarly, community of practice is seen in Towched as transnational network that offers continuous support, as well as sharing and learning opportunities for cultural hubs through their facilitators, but also to other transnational stakeholders, with aspirations to become self-sustainable beyond the duration of the project. So the role of cultural hubs is explored already at the very beginning of the project implementation within the mapping tasks that were mentioned earlier. So through the mapping of the potential cultural hubs locally, we are looking into possibilities to create a platform, a solid platform that would support the development and promotion of innovative methodologies and tools, as well as their sustained local use. This is how it is explained and described in the project description. Why is this line of work so important that we need to pursue it at the very beginning of the project? If we look at the education for sustainable development as social and lifelong learning, then the social dimension of ESD, which refers to all the learners and learning communities, facilitators, organizers, and their relations, make at least an equally important dimension of the ESD learning context, if not even more important than modalities and environments. Towched aspiration to create a long-term platform for collections-based ESD intervention starts from exploring existing collaboration between cultural, educational, and other local organizations, as well as individual and informal stakeholders on the local level. In some cases, there are already, so to say, steady relationships between these key actors, but there is often something missing in terms of resources or common goals. What environment in social learning also entails is a space where the relations between the actors can flourish. So we are also looking into the spatial dimension as a prerequisite to the Towched cultural hubs. Efforts to establish and consolidate cultural hubs run in parallel with developing interventions, establishing practices, and creating tools for collections-based ESD. These learning modalities, together with the communities, so people, and learning ecology or environments, make up the three dimensions of situated learning that ESD community of practice can grow from further on in the project. Towched is practically rooted in understanding of ESD as a common interest of humanity and in understanding of museum collections as invaluable resource in this respect. The question is how can collections-based ESD serve the needs of such a variety of actors, starting from museums themselves with whom these collections are entrusted. Educational institutions need ways to include ESD in their curricula, of course. Civil sector organizations need support from networks and access to communities and resources to fulfill their goals. Elderly, for example, have their stories to tell that can be also valuable. Despite their specific interest, all of these entities have a common need for resilience and transformation, and what they actually and usually lack in practice is permanent local contact zone to explore these commonalities. Museums and schools usually collaborate through existing museum educational programs, sometimes as a part of school curriculum or not, while universities can rely on museum collections for their object-based learning practices, for example. For NGOs working in various social and cultural domains for which collections could be resourceful, the collaboration happens only sporadically and usually within the framework of short-term initiatives. This is why Towched mapping of potential cultural hubs actually goes beyond mapping and into a sort of modeling a cultural hub for collections-based ESD that could be then afterwards tested within the pilot's framework and serve as a template for all the collections-based ESD field cases to come in the following work package. How are we actually going to do this? We would like to interview a variety of key actors and collect experiences of past and existing collaborations between them and propose a model that would show that what works well, what not, what the risks are, what the obstacles are. Thus, we can consolidate Culture Hub's framework. When put in the implementation calendar like this, these efforts start between the end of September and the beginning of November this year, with the process of identifying key actors and stakeholders within the pilots and identifying and assessing their existing and potential collaborations. Soon after that, we would like to identify potential contact zones and to propose a sustainable model for cultural hubs by the end of November, more or less, to be tested at the end and evaluated by the end of the pilot's phase, so by the end of March in 2026. So we can expect that each local cultural hub with, when the tools and the practices in the project become available and developed, has a potential to evolve itself into a local community of practice. A wider European community of practice for collections-based ESD is imagined as a self-sustainable scaffolding for ESD, relying on the transnational network of actors already working on the crossroads of cultural heritage policies, lifelong learning, and sustainable development on one side, and a network of Towched cultural hubs emerging from pilots, field projects, and any other case of shared interest in collections-based ESD on the other hand. So we hereby invite all the interested parties who would like to contribute to this process or get involved by fostering a local cultural hub and by taking advantage of the tools that are being developed and will be developed and will be made available in the Towched open access repository to get in touch with us, KulturAll team, but also the whole team of the Towched project through any of the Towched communication channels. So I would like to thank both the pilots representatives and for their attention, and any viewers who will see this this session for their interest in this topic, as well as the Towched pilots coordinators for organizing this session. looking forward to joining forces with everyone. Thank you.